Data analytics gives you the advantage of getting to answer questions in a faster time. In esports, you have a topic where all those technologies can be applied with an actual great purpose.
eHome was the first casualty of the day. We got 2 more elimination series, and the next one is going to be LGD against Fnatic. And now joining me on the panel, we have Nahaz and Lacoste. And let's start off by talking about LGD. I kind of want to jump right into LGD. This is a team that is the last hope now for China, and they are going to be taking the main stage here with a giant Chinese audience.
It's one of those things where I'm not sure there's that much to talk about. I mean, we know what this team is. I mean, this is the same roster that finished runner-up at TI. They came into this tournament. I think everybody expected them to be at least top 4, if not top 2. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I think that is definitely clear.
Hashtag analysis.
Yeah, there we go. Nice and easy. Yeah, they're good. They're good. So is the other team good?
Is the other team good? Yes.
There
Next
we go.
question.
All right, we're done. Let's just jump into the game.
Panel's off to a great start.
Dude, we have just evolved the panel. I think everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's easy. It's just
Bring
like,
back
good,
the easel.
Good. Yeah, no. Good. Let's jump into the game. I wish it was that easy, but we're going to make you talk about Fnatic just a little bit. What do you expect from this squad?
Well, Fnatic kind of surprised me. They have a lot of talent. First, the group stage didn't look that well. There was a bit sloppy execution from them, but they showed in the last series what they can actually do. 2-0. I mean, MP was stepping up in his game, probably one of his best performances so far. Not trying to take anything away from MP, but man, that Roshan steal, Aegis steal, plus the carrying with his jug, feels good, man.
And of course, the winner of this is going to be playing against EG. I do want to touch upon something that Nahaz was talking about before we did go live, though, because I think it is kind of fun to talk about. You're saying today is your favorite day of a tournament.
Oh, yeah.
That is so weird.
You can take your lower bracket final and grand final. I love my lower bracket quarters and semi because you get to see, so often we have these off days, right, before the final 3 event days. So you get to see these teams that have won a series coming in with a ton of momentum against teams like eHome and LGD that were waiting in the wings that have strats prepped. And sometimes they succeed, sometimes they fail spectacularly. Like I was told backstage by several people that Leshrac Tinker strat that eHome ran in game 1, that was something that they had prepped. They were extremely confident in, but you never know until you see it on the big stage. And then at the end of the day, you get to see these 2 teams that have these great storylines coming in. The first 2 series are usually spectacular. I think this is the most dramatic day, especially when you look at that TI point situation. These are the matches, when you look at how the points are scaling up, that are ultimately, I think, going to determine which teams have the points to get into TI.
Definitely very important. And also, you know, you talk about seeing that strategy that comes out from eHome doesn't necessarily pay off.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff worked for Puppy, right? It's hard to actually assess.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just, at the end of the day, people are going to go hard on you. If you lose with the weird draft, there's going to be some bashing on Reddit, man.
Yep. Because Captain Hindsight, you just basically get to say, okay, we saw it not work, therefore it's bad. But we're going to hear from LGD right now. They have the potential to prepare for this matchup, having several days of a break. We might find out right now if anything wonky's coming in the draft.
Hi guys, I'm here with Xnova from PSG.LGD. So we've been through some intense days during the group stage and playoff. How do you feel today?
We had lost that day, but yeah, we are still trying to overcome it.
Which game do you remember the most? Maybe the toughest one or the most interesting one after these days?
It should be the game against VP. Yeah, on the first game we had quite a lead, but then there were a lot of up and downs, and then at the end we just kind of lost the game because of our mistakes. And to the second game also, yeah.
What do you think happened there? Did you underestimate them because they've been playing with the standing, with the coach, or it was just your mistakes?
I don't think we underestimate them. They are always a strong opponent against us, and we actually had a lot of we played against each other a lot of time before. And it's more on our own mistakes and also the drafting. Yeah.
So you had a short break. What are you and your team are doing during this break?
We just kind of take some breaks, and then maybe a day before the game, we will just gather around and discuss and watch our next opponent, how they play, and came up with your draft. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Most of the teams says that PSG.LGD is one of the biggest rivals or strongest opponents. Do you feel like you're ready to the main stage of the major?
Yeah, we are ready. And I think the strongest rivals is still VP for us. So we still try our best.
What can you say about your other teams from China who also will be playing on the main stage? What can you say about them? Did you see them playing?
So far, I think when I look at eHome and Vichy, I think eHome is much more prepared since they are carrying up the momentum from winning a minors, and until now, they are still doing very good. And for Vichy, we actually train and scrims quite a lot. And even though they lost to us, but I think they are still making their way back up to the game. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck at the main stage.
Okay, thank you.
And one of the first things that we do here in the interview is the fact, yeah, we take a little bit of a break, but you can be damn sure that we're watching all of our opponents' VOD, trying to figure out what we want to do in the draft, and it's going to be exciting to see if this team did take that extra time to pull out all the stops and to come up with something unique. Now, we are going to hear in the interview as well that their biggest rival is VP. They did lose to VP 0-2, one of the only teams that's been able to go toe-to-toe with LGD. They want to get back to the grand final to try to get their revenge. Now, what does this say about LGD when we're looking at everything here, Nahaz? Obviously, very strong opponents in this tournament for pretty much everybody, but going down to VP, do you think they can make that run back?
Absolutely. I think everybody, when they came into this tournament, I think everybody would have had Secret, VP, and LGD as the top three. EG, of course, a lot of people thought might take a step forward. Liquid was among the favorites before we found out about the stand-in. But this is where we expected LGD to be. And as we looked at those hero picks transitioning into here, that's something that I'm going to be really focused on today. We've talked about the fact that through the first 76 games of this major before the off day, there were only 81 different heroes picked. We've had 57 heroes picked in 10 games since then, including 7, the latest being Clockwork in that last series, that we hadn't seen in the tournament up to this point. Teams are clearly pulling out those strats here with those points on the line.
And we're just getting started today too, right? Yesterday we see 6 new heroes getting added to that list, and then today we even see some of those heroes get busted out again. Leshrac mostly, which maybe didn't work, but ultimately we do get to see it again. So maybe we even get to see some new stuff coming down here. But let's talk about their opponents, Fnatic. We already said that they're good. So Lacoste, we want to elaborate why they're good.
Or they're good. They have a variety of heroes that they play, which other teams usually don't use, and that's their strength. They all, you kind of need to force the banning out Ice. His hero pool is so huge. Also, there's always a threat from Tinker. They also ran out Invoker in the previous series, so a lot of heroes to ban out.
That's kind of a big thing that we have talked about, is that player in particular, you want to make sure that he's not on something he's too comfortable on, or he's going to be able to take over the entirety of the game. Now, you do want to note, they didn't look super good against one of the other Chinese teams that has been sent home in eHome in the last game, but besides that, it's been a pretty dominant show, Nahaz.
Yeah, I mean, 2-0 over EG, 2-0 over Liquid, stand-in or not. eHome are the only team to have taken a map off of Fnatic in this tournament, and I think that bodes pretty well. But I want to go back to something that Lacoste opened with when you first asked him about Fnatic, because I think that's the key to the series. MP is the missing piece. for this team. I will give you the short version, okay? Because if we have a delay, I can gush about this Fnatic roster, these other 4 players all day long. I really think they are elite players. But MP is the guy, he's struggled in his career. He had a chance with Secret a couple years ago, didn't take advantage of that. Looked very inconsistent with Immortals last year. This is his shot with Fnatic. If he plays like he did in the final game yesterday, I think Fnatic have a chance. If he doesn't, I think they have a huge uphill battle against LGD.
And you were very critical at times when we did watch MP a little bit earlier in the tournament. And now you're saying, okay, if MP can look the way that he did yesterday, they have a chance. How good do you think that chance is? Let's say MP comes out and he's just playing to his capability. He's performing as high as he can. Do you think it's a strong chance?
Yeah, honestly, if you tell me before the series starts that he is going to play like he did on that Juggernaut, I don't necessarily mean he has to carry the game. In fact, God says this all the time, and I think he's absolutely right. Fnatic, the way they play Dota, MP is often going to be sacked. Okay? But I'm talking the individual plays, the quality of the decision-making, the big plays, like stealing that Aegis during Omni Slash. If he can come out with a couple of those, I think this team can play with LGD.
Okay, and that's going to be a very important thing to think about. We've talked about these teams at length. One of the advantages is going to be the fact that LGD, well, they had a little extra time to compare. They're one of the favorites of this tournament. Coming in as the underdog is going to be Fnatic, but you've already heard from the panel what they need to do. MP going to be one of the guys that we put the spotlight on, but now we're about to find out. LGD and Fnatic are about to take the main stage.
Welcome on stage, PSG.LGD. Please welcome on stage, Fnatic.
We have our players on the stage now, and Fnatic looking really comfortable on their way up. I know that some of the other panelists were saying, okay, is Fnatic going to, it was mostly Black saying, could Fnatic maybe feel the pressure of being up on that main stage? Gods was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're going to be veterans, and I think that's pretty much what we've seen. So Black wrong again.
Yeah, it's looking really rough for Fnatic right now. Ice wearing sneakers instead of flip-flops.
And pants. What? Come on, Daryl. What are you doing?
I'm sure he's at least going to take the shoes off once he gets in the booth. We've seen that be the strat. Pants probably going to stay on, but besides that, we've seen the shoes come off quite a bit. Now, shoes, pants aside, who do you think is going to take this before we actually do get to jump into the draft? It's a tough one, but I feel like everybody has kind of sided with LGD.
Yeah, I have to play the numbers on this one. Again, I think Fnatic is a tremendously talented team. By the end of the season, I expect them to be contending for a TI top 6 spot. I don't think they're quite there yet, especially against a team like LGD. I'm going to go LGD 2-0.
How about you, Lacoste?
I feel like LGD definitely has a better chance of winning this game. Fnatic was looking kind of shaky in the group stage. They were a bit struggling, even though they showed the great performance in the previous series. LGD, just a way better team. I think their drafting is always solid. They have strong lanes, a lot of ways to deal with the split push. They're shoving out waves quickly, and most of their games are clean. Even though they lost to VP, the ones that they won, they looked so solid.
Well, he gets that nice sneeze out of the way before you actually do get into the game. That's very important. You got to get the evil out. But
Rich, you're made for Dota, man.
It's true. That's just a fact of life. But he might have another one. Oh, don't move the camera. That we'll never know.
No.
You would only know if you're here. You got to make sure you get to the next
You guys are messing with my sneeze stats. Like, FY, it's like, what are you doing?
Stop filming me.
So you say that MP may be that X factor on the side of Fnatic, so that is definitely going to be a big thing to look at. Is there any hero in particular that you do want to see him on? Because I've heard varying things about the Faceless Void.
I think they just oh yeah, that game on Faceless Void was not the greatest performance, but I think they just need to give him a hero that he's comfortable with. We saw in one of those games him playing Weaver, pretty solid performance as well.
Yeah.
Like that's his signature hero.
And Fnatic has done that a couple of times where they picked Weaver when it wasn't necessarily a great Weaver game because he's so comfortable on that hero. Yesterday, they last picked Invoker when it wasn't necessarily like the classic Invoker game because Abed wanted to play it. And I think, you know, when you're the underdog in a series like this, that's what you have to do. You have to stay loose, jabs, throw in the jabs as they come on stage, and you have to give your players something that they want to play.
Yeah, and I think that we may see that. I'm hoping, though, that we see LGD go absolutely crazy here because it has been cool to see those teams that have had that extra wiggle room, those few extra days to actually just say, okay, this is how I'm going to counter what we've seen from this team so far. It's been fun to see those games, and I think that's why Nahaz is completely going against the grain and saying the day before the finals of a tournament is his favorite.
He got the papers.
Oh, look at this guy in his notes. Now, I think the other thing to keep an eye on here, although it's not like particularly exciting, is the vision game. Okay. LGD, a lot of their wins at TI8 were because X-Nova's warding was god tier. You're going to see very early on whether Fnatic has scouted those ward spots, which are a little bit new in this patch. If they watch for them getting counter wards. If they do in the first 15 minutes, that's actually a hugely good sign.
Every single time someone dies, he knows where the ward is.
Yes.
That's insane. So I wanted to say the F word, but that's just insane.
So Lacoste, I do have to ask, how much damage do wards do?
Let me check your notes.
Not as much as Meteor Hammer.
These are zero. It still says zero.
These are new notes, but I can write it down again. Wards do 0 damage. Ice, feeling confident there. Sees the cameras on him. He's going to run out of wave. Yeah, and this is a guy that you guys have already said. They can't let him be comfortable. As much as we're talking about, Fnatic is a team that wants to let all of them.
That is
the roar.
The
He's going to play Beastmaster, definitely.
One of only 8 players all time with 400 career Pro Dota 2 LAN wins. This guy, back at as an Invoker player, he's always been my favorite hero. Always been grateful to Ice. Way back at TI3 with Zenith, he was the guy that ended the debate. I used to have to argue with people about whether you went Midas on Exort Invoker. He did it at TI3, and it was never a discussion again.
Never happened again. Now, this is an interesting little stat. 37 minutes, both of these teams' average game time. We know the average game time tends to be in that range. A tiny bit longer from both of these teams falling on the same area. How do you feel like stylistically, though, these teams do truly match up? We've talked a lot about what we've seen against other teams. We've talked about what we may see with the draft based off of the tools that these guys have to prepare against each other. But as far as all-out style goes, how does this head-to-head matchup typically play out, Nahaz?
So I think when you look at LGD, right, how did they... You know, starting at really at Epicenter was their coming out party last year, and how did they dominate these other teams? And it was really those 20 to early 30s team fights. They're just so clean. They play so well around BKB timings. They assess objectives so well, always able to convert after that fight. And that's one of the things that Fnatic can struggle with is they will make mistakes in those mid-game engagements, and LGD is just so absolutely ruthless in exploiting those.
Okay. Very important to note. I will say those stat cards looked so even. That's one of the more even ones that we have seen. These guys having very similar results on the map. Now, Lacoste, how do you think these guys actually do pan out when they play against each other?
I don't remember seeing them playing against each other recently. Nahaz, help me out with that.
I can pull that up here.
All right.
China internet, but I'll get it.
But, I mean... The way the LGD is playing, super aggressive, always playing around the runes, then taking a kill, and going for objective. I would say the style that LGD is playing is way superior than what Fnatic has. Fnatic tends to be less aggressive considering the heroes that they're picking. Maybe they're more of a team that loves to defend, especially when they're playing with the Thinker. And I liked the way they played in the series yesterday, where they had Necro, which is not popular hero anymore, not that strong, as a counter to a TB.
And outside of putting pressure on any player in particular, what else do you think Fnatic needs to do for the upset? Is there a certain route that they need to take? Do they need to focus on their laning phase? Do they need to try to get to the late game? What is it, Naz?
Let me clean up, first of all, because I should have had this off the top of my head. Lacoste asked me about the head-to-head.
He did have it off the top of his head. He didn't look anything up. He's being humble. Naz knew it.
LGD has won 4 straight. So they won 2-0 at KL, and they won 2-0 at TI8. And the last time Fnatic took a map off LGD was back at the Summit 8. So not too many matchups in there, but as you would expect, LGD owning the head-to-head. And I think you actually nailed it, Rich. You're clearly getting some experience with Dota here.
Oh, yeah.
It's the lanes, man. We've seen the tenor, all of our analysis of these drafts, right? It gets radically altered when you see these mid lanes, right? Slark versus Medusa, okay? That from last night. All of these are predicated on the laning matchups, and particularly when you look at mid, kill threat has been so huge. When one hero, even regardless of how the CS would go in like some kind of 1v1 mid, if one hero has kill threat against the other and the other doesn't, that lane just becomes so hard in this meta.
All right, now
write this down, Richard. Winning lanes wins games.
And it always has. It always will.
Hit me up with the most useless stats ever, Nahaz. It doesn't have to be Dota related.
Wait, I have some. I wrote this down yesterday.
Most useless stats. I can give you a minute.
Okay, give me a minute. I'll give you. I've got some doozies.
Here's one. Lacoste follows through on 0% of bets that he makes. We saw an AM go off, and you refused. You refused to shave your beard. You ghosted everybody in the group chat, and then you come in with, is that even a beard?
Io?
I don't know. It looks like a beard, but it's not that manly.
No Io ban?
Could still get banned here.
No Io ban. And LGD, though, has shown a preference. They've first picked Grimstroke a lot, but, man, I wonder if losing with Io Gyro the other day is going to make them gun-shy, because, you know, VP did not look scared of that.
So Io's in the pool. If they first pick it, we've seen more and more times having Grimstroke glitch against it because it's so good. You have 2 heroes running around, guaranteed Grimstroke ulti plus double Lich ulti. It's really easy to execute.
I should have trusted you, dude, because the other thing, though, don't be surprised if instead of Lich Grimstroke, Fnatic go for that DJ Earth Spirit. In fact, Lich Grimstroke is the classic counter, and I think you're going to see some teams in the last couple of days here leave that arrow in the pool with exactly that combo in mind. But I think for Fnatic, I want to see that Earth Spirit.
All right.
Oh, okay. Ooh, this support duo has not been good, though.
I love these animations.
I believe
the stage is looking so cool.
It is. It really is.
See, the first time I saw those dragons, you know, you get here a little bit early and you get to see what the lights are going to look like, but you don't get to see the entire thing come together typically until you're live. And, that stage intro is one of the best I've ever seen. But Sven does not seem like one of the best picks we've ever seen. What are they going for here when you name so many other things that can synergize with the Grimstroke, especially in the face of an Io?
It brings a lot to the table, a lot of team fight potential, extra physical HP, and has a stun, so easy to execute. I guess they're just discussing whether they want to get Earth Spirit or if they want to pick Gyro / Luna.
Luna was insane yesterday.
I just think I think the Wisp Luna combo is just like strictly better than Wisp Gyro. But to be fair, LGD is scrimmage. They're going to take the Earth Spirit. I like this. I thought they would ban it for sure. This would have been banned for sure. And I don't think Fnatic wants to use both of its second phase bans on the Luna and the Gyro. Very nice.
Okay. Smart play coming out here. Now, what are they going to get to grab with this ban now that they've freed up a little bit of space by taking that Earth Sphere for themselves?
Looking at the heroes, is Beastmaster? No, Beastmaster.
So you ban
Beastmaster
Lich
is gone.
as LGD, I think. Because you don't want to let, well, Sven can be core. I still think it's worth a Lich ban because the Sven can be a flex pick. And I actually like, based only on what we've seen in this tournament, I've actually liked offlane Sven.
Yeah, I prefer offlane Sven because he brings so much more. He comes online faster with the items. Even though position 5 Sven is still fine, we saw yesterday in VP's game, especially if he's paired up with Io, Luna, the hero has 2000 HP, even more when he uses a Warcry with basically no items.
Okay, and so Fnatic, I think the question for Fnatic is, Fnatic really has to talk about what they want to do with the Gyro or the Luna right now. Whether you want to ban one or both of those heroes or just leave them both in. Okay, they're gonna attack the offlane. I actually think that's perfectly reasonable. I mean, again, a lot of drafting at this, especially at this stage of event, is just making that opponent predictable.
So we get that attack with the Darkseer here. One more ban going to be coming in on the side of LGD.
Yeah, and then Medusa, perfect. I was, unfortunately that screen went blank, but I was going to say I think you TB or Medusa here.
I was going to see how long I could say LGD
yeah,
before. The second the screen went dark, I was like,
all three of us were like,
LGD.
Oh, I'm sorry, it didn't take longer. That would be great.
I was hoping that I could hear from the main stage. Like, oh man, that could have been the worst 20 seconds of your life, folks. I could have just been saying LGD for an hour.
I would have loved it. I actually would have loved it. Okay,
starting to move into that reserve time a little bit.
Whenever I see Io, I prefer to have a hero that can initiate the team fight. Earth Spirit is one of those, not the best one, but still at early stages he can be the initiator, and now with all the strength gain that he has, he can actually go in, survive, and go in again.
Oh, I'm so surprised that they banned Jug ahead of the Luna there. And they're gonna, okay, go ahead and OD.
OD's been so popular lately. The hero is just insane.
He's just he's a hero damage engine. The big thing that the OD lineups tend to lack, and that I think you'll see LGD address potentially with its next pick, is or sorry, I'm Fnatic address with its next pick, is you now need tower damage. You really need some pushing potential.
Oh yeah, they've struggled in their series against the J-Storm. I believe, where they could not finish the game. They took all 6 towers pretty much 15 minutes in, and they just couldn't finish the game because they lacked tower damage. I love this Doom pick. It's kind of a steal pick, so they can't go for Grimstroke double Doom, which would cripple them a lot. All right.
Whoa! Oh, number 8.
That's it.
Oh my goodness.
So once again, so that's what,
I thought they were going to go Weaver, honestly.
Ice, Ice, Ice.
Ice, 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 Nyx Assassin. It's a classic. And you talk about, against a Wisp lineup, you have to be able to hunt the Wisp. And the common solution is to get a core with a lot of mobility, like a Weaver that can get in that back line and just beat on the low armor Wisp. Well, I mean, the Nyx Assassin does it. But again, I think if LGD picks Luna here, they just get so tanky that even with the Vendetta Impale combo, it's so hard to kill him.
Well, do you think the selection here with the Nyx is one of the reasons that we don't see them target maybe the Luna or maybe target the Gyro?
I would like to have picked Nyx against Luna in the past because she tends to be squishy, but now, oh man.
That's a good counter pick to whatever LGD picks, either it's Luna,
you
either
like
it's
the Nyx,
Gyro.
You really do?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I do, because there's a lot of uncontrollable damage on their side, and with Carapace, it's so easy to stun the heroes.
Okay.
Like, you just run in, he can't control the Flak Cannon and Rocket Barrage as well. Also, Nyx Assassin deals well with the relocate plays. You try to bait with one of the heroes and have Nyx in Vendetta standing there, so that's a huge counterplay. They need a good hero against OD mid. They lack tower damage. I suppose Fnatic is going to ban out Pugna.
It just feels like that hero is so potentially exploitable in lane, though. I mean, what is this lane gonna? Is this gonna be a Nyx, Sven, Grimstroke tri-lane at this point?
It could be, but
you know what else they're doing?
Timber.
This is set up for Abed and Boker.
All right, that sounds
Imprison
good.
into Sunstrike, Nyx gank into Sunstrike.
Does that help with tower damage at all, though?
Yes, Invoker can push. Yeah, if he goes Exort and it's Abed, Invoker gives you it depends on how the hero skills, whether it's Quaswex or whether it's Exort, and how he itemizes. But Invoker can give you enough push as Fnatic here, and it's not cooldown reliant push. So it's not like Exorcism push where you win a fight with Exorcism and oh crap, it's ending.
So consistent, and then if we see the Invoker come in, do you have any concerns about the lanes anymore? Because you're saying with Nyx it could get a little bit hairy.
Big time, big time. I think Invoker has looked Garbo in lane. He's looked like a range creep.
Okay.
I don't know, Lacoste?
Oh yeah, it's so hard to play Invoker, especially when you're playing against these position 4 who are really active early on and have a strong laner against them with a lot of kill potential. And he struggles to get back into the game.
Now, the other thing, by the way, I'm presuming with the Abed Invoker call that they have in the past moved OD into the safe lane with MP, just to clean that discussion up a little bit. The percentage play would be to still keep the OD mid and pick something in the safe lane for MP. Weaver's still available.
It's still a good Timbersaw game for Fnatic if they want to run it and have Core Sven, Nyx 4/5. Because they don't have the answer for it, all right?
Okay, LGD's got to show their 5th pick first.
That's a good ban. Morphling's one of the better heroes against Gyro.
Yeah, you don't want to have him morph and get flack. So they're going to get their mid here.
10 seconds remaining.
Huh.
And they also kind of block the
okay, do you just like go super safe and pick DK?
It's a really bad matchup
against
OD.
Yeah. I don't know though. We've seen so many of these melee heroes actually do much better than I expected in lane over the last couple of days.
Fnatic's turn to
no, okay. Oh, duh. This is like the classic. Yeah. I mean, this was a laning counter to OD like from years and years back as you pick the Razor. It's still, I tell you what though, you're still, as LGD, you still have your playmaker maybe on a Razor. And this is a problem that we discussed in a lot of these other drafts.
Quite a few times that has been a discussion whether or not you want to have that playmaker on that hero, but now it's going to be on Fnatic to grab the last pick of this draft. Is it going to be Invoker?
Invoker just gets dumpstered. I think you probably just go Weaver for MP.
They're in a tough position right now, Fnatic. Lane's looking good. They have a lot of control, a lot of stuns, ways to disengage the fight. Everyone's so speedy against the Razor with the Grimstroke, Warcry, Vendetta.
TB's still in the pool.
I feel like it felt really good at the beginning, right? Because all of a sudden they grab this Nyx, they're targeting the Iroh, they're targeting the Gyro. They didn't actually need to ban it out.
You have nobody that hits towers right now. I mean, Sven Core, I guess, if you want to go that direction. But I mean, I guess you could do something crazy. You could like Rasta and then Sven Core. But you need a tower hitter. Bad.
Got 15 seconds to figure it out. Fnatic not going to need all 15.
There's your tower hitter. Into a Razor. No.
I feel like they shot themselves in the leg with this counter pick. Yeah, you're going to have a good matchup against the Razor, but you're going to have a safe lane OD, which is not going to have that much of an impact. He's not going to have the levels.
I mean, it's not even a good match. It can be a decent matchup in lane, but as the game goes on, right, Razor plays just fine against Lone Druid in the times that it matters, those 20 to 30-minute engagements. This was not the draft I wanted to see.
You can also abuse a static link on
the bear.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm talking about.
Also a little bit scary when you start to address all these issues, and we said the laning phase was probably going to be the most important for Fnatic. So Fnatic fans might be a little bit scared right now, but we're going to find out. Is LGD going to be able to take this down, or is Fnatic going to put up a fight?
It's a great point, Richard. Fnatic fans may actually be scared, but so will the Chinese fans. LGD, the last team remaining. This was the round they went out in the last major in KL. Hilariously enough, if they win this, it's against the same team that knocked him out as Evil Geniuses, who were the team who knocked him out at KL.
Yep, and you can see there's not an empty seat in the arena that I can see.
We are
the last hope for China.
Yep.
they win, they'll continue. If they lose, that's it. And
there's no China in the top 3. Yeah. That's a rough run.
I mean, it'd be the same. It'd be 2 majors in a row actually, where that was the case.
Yep.
And we can talk about those teams on top later. But Fnatic, LGD, I like the bans from PSG.LGD quite a bit. Yep. I think denying Abed the Medusa is big. I couldn't really think of a good last pick, and Fnatic helped me out. They go for the Lone Druid, which I really like. They needed some building damage, they needed physical damage, and it's a hero that isn't affected as much by the triple BKB that the 3 cores of LGD are sure to pick up at some point in this game.
Even the way the Lone Druid's played, right? Like he's a lot more dynamic with the way the Lone Druid's built up, because he's not just about the bear, he's not just about the hero, he can be a mix of both.
I think you've got to go range for him this game. Traditionally, Razor Doom, big counters to the bear. You can link it. The max HP based damage on the bear just shreds it as well. So outrange it. You were thinking of Sniper. Lone Druid can kind of be played in the same way because you do have that high range. Usually people do get the health instead of the attack range. Very tanky hero, but it's Wisp, it's Earth Spirit.
Yeah.
PSG can play so fast in this game, and I'm fearful for this mid matchup.
The question I kind of have is so LGD, they can play fast, but the amount of stuns they have in their lineup is very few and far between. So what happens when they try and go for a chase? There's a lot of heroes with a lot of AoE damage, but there's a fantastic hero over in Fnatic that's able to deal with this. And it's the Nyx Assassin. You pop 1 Spike Carapace. You were saying during the drafting phase that Doom is he walks in with Scorched Earth on, boom, you're gonna get instantly stunned. You got the same with the Gyrocopter, who wants to keep the chase going, can't do it. Razor wants to do the same. There's a lot of ways Savage Roar to break the links, to break the momentum of LGD, and they can't stun lock them down.
You can't turn off the unstable current either, so a well-played Nyx can time it. That's why the BKBs are so important, because you can stun every hero, every core, without them being able to stop you. And that's what Nyx can thrive in. It's so much easier to pick people off if you can Carapace and just easily attack, land that stun, which is, notoriously difficult to land. I've seen a lot of Impales whiffed in my time.
We got this fun lane. For once, it's not killed off by a Darkseer shell, both on top and bottom. So Nyx Assassin, they're trying to hunt him down with the ES and the IO together, just trying to keep Jabs out of the line. He turns for his stun, but actually gets stunned himself. This could actually be death. Jabs, he starts his stun out, begins his TP. Jabs, barely surviving, 75 HP.
And up top as well, Chalice took a ton of harassment. Even though he started with Shield Ring of Protection, he was forced to salve in just a single spell combination of this Grimstroke Sven lane. A very scary combo. You have double stun, and then later on, as you get levels, the Stroke of Fate comes in. It's a tough lane for Doom if he's unable to eat a creep.
Same thing with S4, right? You can't eat a creep because they don't spawn until the 1 minute mark. So you kind of get effectively crippled for the first 2 minutes of the game. Yeah,
I like what DJ's going to do here. You want to pull this hard camp. You cannot give a safe lane solo Doom a free Satyr Tormentor eat. That health regen aura, as that creep digests, you have 10 HP regen. That's just too strong when you're a lane that wants to harass.
He's got the time to bring it down too. It's 14 seconds before Devour comes back off cooldown. And the only other thing you can get is what? Speed aura for a Doombringer?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, good luck for that.
He'll probably block the hard camp as well. It's really well done, and this is something we see becoming more and more important. Whoa.
Ooh, that rolling boulder. For Connect from X-Nova, there would have been a bigger chance. MP gets back to the safety of the tier 1.
Since we have this tri-lane meta back, a lot of the old off-lane mechanics that were forgotten, like when you're playing against Darkseer, blocking the camp he wants to farm with his creep waves, denying Doom a hard camp, things like this are incredibly important. DJ won't block it, but he saw him eat the creep, to be fair.
It's the Dark Troll Summoners, which is very manageable for this lineup.
Bottom, another whiff from X-Nova.
Cannot hit that rolling boulder. MP's got the bear coming with him, and in case they want to dive in. This bear does have Savage Roar available, and they could just turn the team of LGD around. So it's still very difficult for LGD to add that kind of pressure. As we've seen in fact, I think the last 2 series that we got to cast, it was this diving of the safe laner. You cannot do that against a lone Druid.
And the issue is, if you look at mid, Abed actually tanking a full link. He's no longer able to get last hits. He will grab 1 off the Astral, but a tough matchup for the OD. Razor certainly going to out-deny him at this early phase.
It's actually neck and neck for their CS. Same for the offlaners, Ame, as well as Ice. They're the ones who are getting the most amount of farm out of this game, and this is probably a nice side of Fnatic's lineup, where the fact that Ice can sometimes be that carry for their team, and it doesn't it doesn't unbalance the team. They're okay to play around Ice Ice Ice. Of course, this is when he's on Timbersaws and other very tanky style heroes. They create space later. Ice Ice Ice, first dump, they follow it up. Quite nice with the Ink Swell, and you get this combination. TP supports are now coming in. Actually, it's just Chalice TPing back to the tier 1 tower, but he only has a Tango. That's not enough regeneration. He's hoping for a good creep, and all he's got is the Dark Troll Summoner. Meanwhile in mid, Disruption. Oh, that's too early from Jabs. He needed to connect on that stun. Instead, Abed's forced to run away. 66 damage stolen, all of it pumped into the Nyx Assassin. Literally getting slapped for punishing, for not getting that stun off.
Try it again.
Okay, yeah. If at first you don't succeed, more orbs. But here comes the ES, rolling boulders in. Ice 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 gets the first blood. Up on the top lane in the meantime, while Abed underneath this tower will go down. Support rotation from Io is able to ensure it.
A double TP, and this is the strength of comboing Wisp with an aggro 5 position like an Earth Spirit. Traditionally, you would see FY play this, but instead, they're doubling down on this ability to constantly rotate, and the teleports from these supports will always be a threat. You can immediately respond with aggression, either one. They're just so good at turning around these little skirmishes in the early game, and 2 of the best heroes to spike at level 6 as well. You get the relocate, the magnetize.
Should still flag the fact that First Blood did go to Ice Ice Ice. He's number 1, well, he was number 1 on the CS, but he's number 1 on the net worth for the moment above the Gyrocopter. But Gyro's going to have more troubles on bottom lane. As MP gets stronger, can he actually sustain in this lane once you get like a higher level up in the bear?
It becomes more difficult, certainly. I think that as that occurs, though, you look to get more aggressive, especially when the Gyrocopter is level 6. This relationship goes both ways, because while Lone Druid can tank through the magic damage... Oh, another...
It's a fun battle for the runes. Jabs was able to keep X Nova off one of the runes, but still, by the looks of it, a 2-2 split with a bottle up for FY.
The thing about Gyrocopter is you output so much magic damage, especially with the Wisp, that these early mid-game engagements, level 8, level 9 Gyro, you just throw out a rocket on the Lone Druid and you just dive and throw out all your spells. There's nothing MP can do. Sure, you can fear someone away for 1.2 seconds, but other than that, you don't do any real damage until you've acquired a few items.
I'm interested to see if this creep is able to be devoured up by Doom. Currently, he's got speed creep. He wants the Wild Wing Ripper to spawn to the further to the south. But DJ and Ice 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 will make him work for it. But that's the reason why X Nova's here. He scouted out that creep. And they need it for the armor. Yeah, the Doom has some through his items. But here comes your rolling boulder. DJ ready to go. Ink swells up. Ice 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 as a Storm Bolt available. You'll start with the first stun into Chalice. They got follow-up damage. Not to mention that swell. Chalice is having such a hard time. He devours a range creep and then will die shortly after. One more attack will do it. No! He's actually getting regen. Ice 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 had to come in a little too deep for this. Io FY begins his rotate up. No Warcry. Ice 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 will die on the tree lines, trying to slow him down with the stroke of fate, but it will not be enough. But a lot of attention being brought to this top lane.
And more importantly, that makes the Gyrocopter alone. And there's the root. They're waiting for that.
Yep, able to get the stun. Follow up. Savage Draw, making sure there is no extra follow-up damage from Army. You can get the homing missile off, and Chalice will change out lanes. Should also flag in the meantime. Razor initiated on the OD, but he imprisoned and then TP'd over towards the shrine, so Abed was able to survive the Razor initiation.
Yeah, but check out the CS disparity, though. Almost as many denies on Maybe as there are CS on Abed. A lot of that is that initial kill, top lane.
Rolling boulder in. FY begins his tether over. Ice Ice Ice, thanks to the Warcry, has a lot of life. They get the slow from X Nova. They're battling in the mid lane at the same time, but will Ice 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 be able to survive through this? He's still got 9 stick charges. He'll commit it and get back behind the tower, but it's still not enough. X Nova will rolling boulder through. Razor died in the meantime with a gank from Jabs and DJ. That's why they could not get to top lane to help out. But they understand they need to change the momentum at the mid.
I like that move. That was by far the most important target for Fnatic to take out at this time. You don't want a free farm Razor to just be able to freely rotate around your map.
And they got the Observer Ward as well. So that extra vision that LGD had up on top lane starts to go begging. It was their earlier ward.
We saw in the EG series, like, no matter the start of an OD, at some point you become a force on the map. And if there's a hero I think you got to worry about as the side of PSG.LGD, it's this one. MP, like Lone Druid, because it's not this bear build that we see anymore, you don't have these massive power spikes. You used to be like, oh, I got a Radiance, time to go. It's far more gradual. It's way more linear progression. Whereas this lineup of the Dire side, like they're going to hit a timing with BKBs and just go. and you've got to be afraid if you're Fnatic around this timing. You don't have any Roche takers either.
Watching this movement from Xnova. He's come over a pretty far way. Grimstroke's making his way up too. Observer Ward, that may be a little bit too obviously placed. Xnova will rolling Boulder away. If they check him quickly, they'll see, yeah, instant drop the Sentry. They realize there's only one Observer Ward left in his inventory. So that's the second Observer Ward to be dewarded within a minute. They need this vision, but I suppose you could just run at him, but Warcry makes him run away. In fact, Ice wants to turn, but he ain't getting anything from this.
3 points already in the Warcry too, and it's so good against the Gyrocopter. Mid.
Banishment up, jabs, here we go again. This time he'll get this done. DJ arrives, they've got the silence, no follow-up from the Razor. By the time the double TP's complete, in fact, they only completed one of them with the IO, that Razor's already dead.
Maybe he's just too aggressive. This is the concern when you're playing against an OD. If you get Astraled on his side of the river, how easy is it for the support Nyx to just walk over, land that stun? The damage output of an OD, even with just level 1 orb, is so high.
3 Observer Wards now dewarded in the space of 2 minutes. LGD want to keep their vision up, but it seems to be really difficult. The only 2 orbs they have are very defensive around their safe lane. And that's the lane where it's the hardest to kill.
Look at the, oh, hang on.
Rolling Boulder, not going to connect. DJ just dodges it with ease.
Real quick, take a look at the vision Fnatic has right now. It's just a line from top left to bottom right. 4 wards on their own side of the map. You can see that they expect aggression from the LGD side.
Yep. And they're getting a lot of information early because it's in the river. It's when the rotation comes over.
Exactly. Like Earth Spirit Wisp, these heroes are most dangerous when they're in an unknown location in your own jungle, especially at nighttime, which will be fading shortly. 5 seconds to the bounty rune spawn.
Yeah, Ice wants to contest the top one. He goes for the Stormbolt, realizes IO as well as Gyrocopter's here. Homing missiles coming, rolling Boulder. That felt very, well, small. And even with Razor here on the top lane, they wanted to fight.
Yep. It's this cool... Sven is a 1. Sure, you're going to be hard countered by heroes like Razor. But when you're playing 3, you're going this max Warcry build. Like, what does a Flak do when every hero on your team is going to have a 440 health shield and that move speed to just kite away from these heroes?
Oh, God, Chalice.
Like, as you said, there aren't many stuns on the side of PSG.LGD. When that roll whiffs, you have no catch anymore.
Yep.
And all 3 cores of LGD just want to chase after you.
Nice by Carapace. Everyone's going to get stunned up. Nyx Assassin, however, will not survive. It could be nice, but that's nice, LGD. It's the homing missile. They got to wait for this. The rolling boulder does connect. If this was the old ES, I'd feel a lot more confident about LGD's lineup, but it just does feel control problems, drums built up early as well from Sven.
You're still all right. This is a very touch-and-go game. I don't think either team has a massive advantage at any one timing, save perhaps the triple BKBs of LGD. Chalice has 4 points in Devour and a Vlad's finish. He is going to scale exponentially.
They're really looking to go on Razor. Nyx Assassin, this is really the first proper Vendetta run we're seeing from him. Also, amazing that Nyx Assassin's still able to get like the level 6 has been kind of rough. He's, I suppose he's a 1-1-1, so his KDA is pretty good. But you want to have that level 6 up as early as you can. Begin the ganks and become the Observer Ward. He's found 1 target.
Going to have a Deso rush, it looks like, from MP, so...
Oh, interesting, the Druid actually abandoned the lane. They go for a Stormbolt, here comes your relocate. Earth Spirit rolling boulders forward, the silence on Grimstroke. He cannot get the combo together, but Nyx Assassin will create more space. Call down, the Warcry, the movement speed with the drums as well. The combo together, the homing missile may kill off Ice. He doesn't have the life to survive this underneath the tower. Xnova finds the kill, the Valentine, rolling boulder forward. ES is a real hero. MP Savatrour, that's why Xnova walks away. Grimstroke, DJ needs the slow to buy more space and time. The Sven buys back underneath the Tier 1 tower. They want the fight. They look to the Gyrocopter. Tether forward. Grimstroke cannot get the stun off. The OD drops the ultimate. It's so ineffective. It's so early in the game. Even with the damage stolen, they turn around. A root on Gyrocopter. Sven's having his own fight. They need to focus fire here, Fnatic, and they look towards Arme. That FY, he's this non-stop bottle effect. Couple of 1 charges, but the damage output now is finally enough. Tether away from FY, he'll get up, but look at Jabs. He's running in behind. He'll need to hit both the attack of Vendetta and the stun, but he won't find it. He turns to the side, over towards Earth Spirit. Mr. 303, Xnova, the king of the last fight, goes down to MP. And Ice isn't done yet. Stormbolt flies forward, over to Io. They trigger the Warcry, plus the drums. The movement speed is through the roof. They really want to bring down the Doombringer, but they have to kill off FY. He's still in this regeneration tether. They know it as well. Now Doombringer, he'll finally go down. Ice is looking for the next kill, and he tethers down Gyrocopter, returning to the fight with a call down. It's going to whip pretty heavily, so now they can fight as OD has brought down the Io, the banishment. This is just one to the next, to the next, to the next. Kill them all. Gyrocopter will fall. ES can return to the fight. Is there another TP? Is there someone that wants to return? I think we're done, Kyle. I think we're good.
That fight took forever, Toby. That Earth Spirit Magnetize went on for about 30 seconds. You can see why this hero is first picked by many teams, but the weakness, he ran out of rocks. That last tick to get the kill on, I think it was the Grimstroke under tower, all of a sudden Xnova, he has no spells now for 30 seconds. You have no more remnants. And LGD, like, you're exposed. They were under a Radiant Observer ward, and Fnatic did an incredible pincer maneuver. You can see the power of a Sven with this drums, already using 4 charges in about 5 minutes, but it doesn't matter. They have so much closing speed, and PSG.LGD, if your draft, they're a snowball. If Fnatic can just push through you, like you don't do anything. You just run away. You have no real catch, especially if Earth Spirit runs out of remnants.
I love the change-up as well in the item build for the Lone Druid. He actually switched in to picking up a Vlad's instead of finishing up the Desolator. He understands they need the auras for this fight.
It's a
you're
heavy
not
commitment.
sold? You're
not as convinced because they have a Sven. You want your one position to be able to itemize for power, for damage output. A Sven can very easily pick up that Vlad's, but you know, Fnatic, he's going to be going Hood instead on Sven. No, switching to a Force Staff now. More peel. I don't mind that either, because if you can just get rid of the Link and juke out the Gyrocopter's ultimate, like, you can kite these fights very easily. You're a very mobile and quick team. You have the real save mechanic, and Nyx is going to be able to get off so many stuns in these long fights.
Missing the Savage Roar MP, he'll only get one of the bounty runes. Still a 2-2 trade-off.
You're just going to hit a peak, a faster power peak on the side of Fnatic, but your Lone Druid is sacrificing a bit of his late game scaling power, but will that really matter if the game doesn't go, you know, that 30-40 minutes?
I still remember the way we called Lone Druid in the past. He's the 12-slot hero. It's no anti-mage 6-slot. You got a lot of things to pull up. Nyx Assassin currently leeching the experience until he gets hit by the IO balls. I think FY knows what's going on, but he has Dust. He'll drop a Sentry instead. It's just out of range of the Radiant Observer ward, however.
Jabs has to be careful with that sort of move.
Looked at top, rolling boulder forward, relocates coming in. Doom has Doom available, and yeah, you just have to let this Sven go down. They trap him up, and all 5 heroes from LGD appear on top, but look where the counterplay comes in from Fnatic. The switch into the mid lane. They're looking to bring down that mid-tier 1.
Now you want to play against the Wisp lineups. Yeah, you can leave the 1, but make sure you continue forcing objectives. That's where Lone Druid comes in, and why it's such a great 22 pick here to the side of Fnatic. But
hey, Stroke of Fate so good as well.
Yeah.
Just clean up the creep waves.
Yeah, PSG.LGD, they can do that all game, though, and there really isn't much of a counterplay for Fnatic just yet. If someone gets initiated on by the Earth Spirit with Relo, and like the rest of LGD is collapsing, that target is probably dead. The thing is that Fnatic has a lot more staying power in these fights, and if they can just get through the window of the Relo, of a big Link from Razor, the Doom, you know, those 15-second plus fights are going to start to lean towards Radiant.
Yep. For now, MP is making sure that every tower is brought down. His aggression to the tier 2, LGD felt too much pressure, and they ended up popping the fortification, making this tier 1 tower a lot easier to bring down. In fact, MP, he doesn't care about backdoor regen because there ain't any on the tier 1 towers. Beats it down, looks for the last hits, looks for the extra cash. And Nyx Assassin looks for LGD, but no one is nearby. They actually walk back over underneath the aggressive vision. There were 4 sentries planted across the northern side of LGD's map, and they found only 1 of the observer wards of Fnatic.
And that's Nyx is so great at punishing these types of support combinations, because both Earth Spirit and Wisp much prefer to be in the 4 position. You really want them both to have an activated game, and they're going to be forced to spend so much of their income on these sentries just to ensure that Jabs isn't lurking, looking to find those easy pickoffs. Here comes the smoke. They scan in front of it as well. They're going to find Gyro.
Gyrocopter's nearby. 4-star forward so they can get the imprisonment. This will buy time, however, for LGD to get a response. Sven is coming over. The Io, well, he'll actually stay alive and keep the Gyrocopter there. A perfect call and a flat cannon combination. They're going to lose both Nyx and OD. Defensive imprisonment with no Force Staff and no friends. That means the death of Abed and a double kill for Army, and it needed to come. This is now going to just escalate the gyrocopter and, of course, the levels for Io.
See, I like that move, but that sort of play right there is what separates a team like Fnatic. So much potential, so talented, but VP, they're going to blow Astral and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Fnatic commit. You've got to expect there's going to be a response. It's a Wisp and an Earth Spirit all game. Xnova and FY prove we're going to be rotating. We are willing to rotate. You know the Wisp is near the gyro, and yeah, you drop the hammer, but it's just too aggressive in a game that you just don't need to do that.
Stormbolt on mid. Sven gets the chain stun. He's not going to get any kind of response out from LGD. And you're right, we were kind of joking about it. It's like, hey, Grimstroke actually has little synergy with the OD because you're unable to use imprisonment aggressively, because it just means then there's two targets you're not hitting, and you may have well just given the saves we saw. Like it was Tuskar as well as OD together. I imprison one, I snowball one. Who are you going to attack?
Yeah, that's right. The OD Astral is great for initiating like through the laning phase, but when you hit the mid game, especially against all this counter initiation, also great silence by Xnova to prevent the Earth Spirit stun. But you can't give a team like LGD that 4 to 5 seconds to think about what they want to do.
Under a tier 2 tower, under a shrine.
Lone Druid as well, showing middle, and just not ready to fight yet. You know, he's got Treads and a Vlad, sure, but he wants to finish that Deso, 200 gold away, and then if you're a Fnatic, you can look to maybe take an engagement and Roche afterwards.
Well, for now, they're going deeper into the dire jungle. LGD planted another 2 sentries, but they still haven't found that one observer.
Click through the LGD cores now. Look at what they're going for next. 400 gold to Gyro's BKB. 100 gold from Razor's BKB. And Chalice, you know, he's still a ways away. That full 2 pieces, but he's picked up a blink. He'll be able to get that initiation off. Probably Doom. Yeah, Doom the OD. That's his job. That's why he's buying this blink dagger. And if you're Ice, you're going to have to play a good game. Try and get your team away. Kite out the timing of PSG.LGD. Because right now, when these BKBs come online, look for them to get super aggressive, especially when you bank on that relocate. Yep. 3-man smoke into a reload could find those 2 kills all of a sudden. PSG.LGD are taking towers.
They got themselves an illusion rune on MP, and they're going to try and make the most of it. Speeding into that mid tower because there's not that much greater damage.
But it's cool because of how they're playing it. Abed just showed top. You've got Sven showing mid. There's no way LGD expect this Roshan.
Look at the way Ice is running. He triggers Warcry and starts running towards Charles. Like, if you want to find me, I have a team behind me. Now, Roshan is only 1/3 down. Charles is walking over, and he'll see everyone coming out of the pit. Triggers the Scorcher. They don't know the status of Roshan just yet, but seeing that Lone Druid leaves the pit gives them confidence. But Sentry, Nyx, very, very visible. It's only a couple of illusions. It's a good stroke, but now the BKBs and the relocate positioning from LGD is right on point. You can soul bind them up. The flat cannon, they actually disengage. Fnatic are able to back off from this. You silence over on the Io. They're trying to get back to the shrine. Abed, a defensive imprisonment. The flat cannon damage, it won't be enough. But here comes ES. They really want to get this kill on the OD, but they can't do it. Under the shrine. Now it's a double stun from Nyx. You're going to lose ES. Buybacks are coming in, but how much more damage has LGD got? They expended so much at the start of this fight. The Fnatic's survivability will continue through. Say goodbye to your Doom. Say goodbye to your Io. He's slowed up. ES tries to create space, but MP's already got the kill. Jab, he's in trouble. The Magnetizer's done some work, but he's also created his own work, getting the stuns out. Buyback in from the Nyx Assassin. More stuns to arrive. They look towards the Earth Spirit. He cannot rolling boulder out this one. He knows he'll go down. 3 heroes down for LGD. Drew it up for Fnatic. Means they go back into the pit and finish what they started.
And that all started because LGD, incredibly good team. TI runners up. They saw a huge creep wave at bottom tower. No one's hitting it. You know they're in the pit. Fnatic go right back into it. A huge commitment, and you can already see the way these fights go. Sure, LGD, you have utter dominance when BKBs are up, but Fnatic doing a great job of just kiting away.
They contesting without the ES. BKB is back off cooldown for Arme. He's looking for it, starts the cooldown. Stormbolt forward, doesn't burn the BKB. Not one FY is there, but there goes your Eclipse. Heavy damage, heavy mana burn. FY as well as Arme drop. The BKB Razor, he's on his own run. You know Fnatic want to keep this pressure up. They know they forced out the wrong direction. OD, he turned around the tree line and forced off horizontally across the wave. The Druids finishing again what they started about 5 minutes ago.
This is troubling for LGD fans out there. And this crowd all of a sudden quiets up. They were very excited about that initial engagement, but you can see Fnatic's just playing so well. Push and pull, let LGD expend their cooldowns. I'm surprised maybe he doesn't BKB the Sven stun, thinking he'll have to sustain through it, but Abed, he just goes forward, hits him once, and drops the hammer, and he actually dies without even getting a second to breathe, and that's the follow. Like, Nyx, you offer so much disable as well. You're going to have 5 seconds of lockdown anytime these two heroes can stun somebody in tandem. It's just so easy to find those 100-0 kills.
It looks like there's so many players who have been caught off guard by just the effect of Kaya on OD. Yeah. You jump in, and then it's like, well, we're together at least low, but FY can't sustain the spill damage, and now another pickup. ES was just trying to get some D wards out. They've got their own sentry. Now that's taken out, and, well, Earth Spirit cannot even rolling boulder. The Savage Roar interrupts your ability to do anything. And now a Blink Dagger onto Ice, Ice, Ice.
It's still a tight game, though. All it takes for PSG.LGD is an initiation where you get the Doom off on OD, maybe the Sven, and if you can get a couple kills under your BKBs, you can still easily roll through Fnatic and win a fight. But so far, they've proven formidable. They're not going to give this away. Both teams understand the game state and how it is they need to play to ensure that they can win fights.
They are hunting the jump forward homing missile. They get rid of it before the fight can begin. You've got FY staying in the fog of war on the other side of the trees, but it still will be a double stun. But now Wolf Stomp in from the Doom. He's looking for his own target with the BKBs up. You'll get the kick, the perfect slows. They can't get out. Instead, there's going to be a TP out from Grimstroke under the cover of his own Glimmer Cape. Nyx Assassin, the only one to die. But then again, Lone Druid, he's got the distance into the trees. Begins his TP. The creep sees him in the trees. No, it will actually be neutral. He'll TP out to safety. I thought for a moment someone had a Dominator, but no, they do not.
Still, you're happy with that. You cut your losses if you're Fnatic. Only losing one there is a godsend. That looked far worse for them, the initial engagement.
These BKB timings, they are dropping so quickly. LGD have been so frivolous with the way they burn them. There's a 7-second BKB on the Razor, is 8 seconds on the Gyrocopter. Doom hasn't even completed his because he can't stay alive in the fights long enough.
It's really important that PSG.LGD not just use their abilities, they want to make sure they get them off on the ideal targets. You want to be able to link the Lone Druid if you can, but in that range form, oh, well, they're initiating.
Blink, Stormbolt, and then the follow-up stun, which comes in from Grimstroke. Spirit, he came on a de-warning mission. You won't get anything, however.
Don't have any problems killing buildings. That was the one missing piece of the Fnatic lineup going up into their 22nd pick. And you have a Lone Druid now with the Deso. He's going to shred through these structures.
He's almost got his own BKB. Do you like this build as well coming in from Sven? Like, Ice already got the Blink as well as the Pipe. He's going for Aghanim Scepter next. It's just like, we're going to amplify everything that Fnatic does.
I don't mind it. I'm fairly certain it gives bonus damage to the Bear too, because it's a hero unit. I could be completely incorrect though, that happens often. Either way, it just drastically increases the amount of damage OD and Lone Druid are going to do. It's never a bad item, and this is very much a utility Sven, and what other teamfight item is he supposed to pick up? At some point, the Lone Druid wants to buy AC. It's best for his progression. Vlad's has already picked up. You have a Pipe. There really isn't that much left for you to buy in the store.
Yeah, it's like, hang on, I could potentially buy Assault Cuirass, but yeah. For the OD, if he gets buffed up, hey, maybe he'll be a building hitter for once in his life. He's already doing 150 plus the 22 when in range of the Vlads. And there's only one remaining out of town for LGD.
And this is one of the ways you can deal with the Wisp. Just have faith in your 5-man. Relocate no longer becomes a tool that PSG.LGD can abuse because Fnatic's just saying, we're just together, and you have no way of actually team fighting into Fnatic unless you catch them off guard. You need the initiation and a good reload. You need a pincer. Just chasing after them is not going to work, as we've seen time and time again in this game.
It's always a fun little thing to remember is that level 15 talent from Sven with the Stormhammer dispelling on enemies. Like, who does he even focus in the fights? Like, who's even a priority on this? Is it anyone, or is it just whoever you can stun? That's the primary thing.
Yeah, it's never, I mean, you know, late game, right? Just dispelling DDs and stuff could be cool. It's just not, it's a weird mechanic that I don't think people are going to be used to, you know? It's not something that's been attached to that stun in the first 15 years of Dota.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I look at it, it's like, okay, so what is actually the implications of it? But I guess we'll watch it in the fights and find out. The observer wards are close, and they're actually watching the movement of LGD all into the mid lane. I suppose they show themselves in the creep wave. LGD seems so scared. And rightly so, Jabs is on the hunt. There is no vision on the map for the Dire side at the moment.
And
they are completely blind, but there's 2 obs and sentries on the S.
And look at the way Fnatic's playing this. If they can constantly push out mid with these 3 wards connected in the jungle, they have the ability to just box LGD in the crease of their base. They're stuck now in their bottom jungle, which also frees up potential Roshan when that respawns anywhere from 2.5 to 5.5 minutes. And you can see them, they might look to get aggressive. They have the BKBs finished now. All of a sudden, Fnatic, you have your own timing. Sure, LGD hit it first, but as you said, like, they weren't really able to use them properly, and all of a sudden, Fnatic are the ones with a big advantage in this upcoming engagement, and LGD are smoked.
Yep, LGD want to try and fight because Io just hit level 15 too, so you got that bonus Aghanim Scepter into Gyrocopter thanks to the tether. This is what they're wanting to look for.
That's a big timing too we didn't bring up, but at this point we've seen enough Wisp Gyro to know how this hero hits a massive power spike. Not based on his own game, but just that free attack with a Maelstrom every 1.1 seconds.
They're going to try take the tier 2 tower on bottom lane. The pressure is there on mid, and the line's being drawn from Ice. It's literally top and mid. Let's go. If LGD want to try and push us, we'll make them TP back scattered.
It's unfortunate. MP just a bit out of position, farming so far away from the enemy base. This means that PSG.LGD will have that window now where they're the ones that should be able to force Fnatic back to base.
He actually couldn't even TP back. They had to add the pressure. His TP was on cooldown for 20 seconds.
Doing a good job. Mid wave was constantly pressured as well. Fnatic always playing this top dire jungle, so they do have good map control. You can see LGD, they place 2 wards of their own. It's kind of funny. Like, you can see it's actually near identical warding. Both teams attempting to accomplish the same goal. Establish map control and a vision advantage in the enemy jungle, which generally will favor Radiant solely because it's then easier for them to play around Roshan. That's not an objective just yet, but it may be in a minute, and that fight could very well decide this game.
Jabs found one of the obs. And if he guesses right again, he'll drop a sentry exactly where he is. But under the cover of Vendetta, he'll move forward. There was no sentry ward to watch that movement. There will be if he wants to go up the hill that is in front of him. But with 3 heroes sitting there, it's a very unwise idea.
Bounty runes are going to be a 2-for-2 trade, as they often are in games that reach this sort of stalemate. Neither team trying to make a critical mistake before that big engagement around the Roche pit. And it's going to come down to how does PSG.LGD take the fight initially. They have the Shivas on Razor. That's going to help a lot with acquiring vision in these fights for the Doom, for the Earth Spirit, but also the catch power. And you just need to Doom the OD.
Smoke up.
Here we go.
Fnatic go in. Look towards the mid, it's going to break on the Grimstroke. They have vision up the hill. Silence very quickly onto DJ, and they're looking for the stun. And Static Link onto Ice. He's got movement speed with a 4-star, but that's still a lot of stolen damage. Almost reaching the 200 mark. Call down as well, but it's a little bit too far away underneath the tier 1 tower. Fnatic feel a little bit more confident. Jabs, they'll silence him up and get the damage with the Plasma Field to finally bring down the Nyx Assassin. But that's the big initiation. BKBs, they've all been triggered from LGD. Maybe they can kill the Lone Druid there, but that's why Stormbolt Sven jumps back in with the Eclipse. It was the build-up damage. Challenge, he actually had his BKB still up, so he can be the front liner, and so can the ES, just because he's tanking another Savage Troll. Challenge, he's walking it off, so low on life, 150, he'll survive. Nyx can't hit the stun, and maybe now he'll go down underneath the tower. Yep, it's a dieback from Jabs, but hilariously enough,
Roche
the buybacks, it was only from Nyx. They look towards Roshan and even finding another target. DJ's in trouble. He's actually got his own Hex. Maybe he can buy some time into the Glimmer Cave, under some cover, with an extra stun. He's looking to do as much damage and waste as much time of LGD as possible. And he actually did.
There's no Roche, though, for a minute and a half. So this huge engagement does go down. PSG.LGD, they get a big win. You could see Abed played that fight well. He could not commit because he knows Chalice is gunning for him, looking for the Doom, and he just does not enter the fight until maybe 30 seconds after it had developed. Chalice still gets the Doom on him, but it's post-BKB, post-Hammer, all cooldowns expended. Nyx will be down with no buyback. But it was just Doom on OD, they got the Link on the Lone Druid, and then all of a sudden Fnatic, you don't have the ability to take these fights any longer.
Yep, they lost their damage output. Now the mid-tier 2 tower will drop, but Abed's pushing in the bottom lane. TPs are coming in thanks to the Observer Ward. There's a good old Tinker Ward on the hill. Gyrocopter will be scouted out and the OD will TP away. So it keeps the game close. LGD repairing the damage that was on both the net worth as well as the experience graphs, bringing it all within 1,000.
You feel the crowd with a little more confidence now. They've seen this story before. LGD with the Wisp Gyrocopter, an even game around the 33-minute mark. This has got to be your comfort zone, but the supports are a bit poor. This is the Nyx factor. You have Grimstroke with more net worth. I mean, it's DJ, to be fair. You talked about the Soulbind synergy. We've got a Hex now.
It's that 90 gold per minute talent. When you have such a great early game from Fnatic, he reaches level 10 so quickly that, yeah, you can just increase this pace of the side.
So yeah, you want to fight LGD, but it didn't give you the key objective. All of a sudden, Roche is going to spawn, and we have another engagement on.
Group up for the Aghanims, God Strength. They really want to have a big fight. Ice doesn't find his stun target. Now they do the blink up. Very quick away. They come back in again. Warcry, God Strength. The damage will be here if Fnatic can only stand and do the fight. That's what Lone Drew is doing under cover of the BKB. Static Link does connect, but only 43 damage stolen. The stun's on the Grimstroke. They have the information. Another stump. It actually means the Nyx Assassin can't get any abilities off. They're both down for the count. No buybacks available. And Fnatic are in full retreat. Ice has no more movement speed. The Flacken, homing missiles are chasing. And this will allow Razor to get right on the tail. Has to turn for the Savage Roar. Force Razor to go the opposite direction, but underneath the tier 3 towers, LGD, they storm forward. The Storm Bolt actually blocks. The Lincoln Spheres on the Gyrocopter. That's why he's got the extra life. Lone Druid, another Savage Roar. Razor doesn't get the last one of damage. Hit 21 dead. Good job. Hitting down MP. No buyback for the Lone Druid. LGD will look to do the damage to the base. If more targets will present themselves, they'll keep going for it.
There you go. That's the fight they were looking for.
How do you hold this if you do? How hard does LGD push it? They're already rotating down to the bottom lane. They want to get 2 lanes of racks here. They saw the Nyx Assassin, the Gem of True Sight over on the Razor. That's how they're able to time it perfectly. Lincoln Sphere blocks the Stormbolt once again. Nyx Assassin wants to walk forward, but he's so visible. And the Horde Storm! Chalice gets 2 and the Doom on the OD! That's the potential game, because it's opening up Arme to beat the crap out of Ice. Back up the hills. They got the stun from inside the fountain. Fnatic are a lot stronger. Chalice trying to tank it, buying time for LGD to take the bottom melee racks. They're coming out. The racks, it is almost gone. It is gone. The BKB's from OD. He's got Eclipse of Battle, plus the stolen intel. They need to find the stun. Another Lincoln Sphere. No, it's the BKB. LGD, Crocodile Tears. They turn around on Fnatic. But now that BKB is a short duration. They want to blink forward. The stun onto X-Nova. They'll be able to find this kill. The follow-up stuns, but he is the sacrificial lamb on the mount of LGD.
And he did his job right before he died, Toby. Interrupted the Sven blink, ensures there's no way they'll be able to pursue the cores out of the base. That's what they were waiting for. They just needed that one fight. We say it time and time again, when you have heroes that scale to deal damage to structures, you only ever really need that one opening. Fnatic, Earth Spirit's dead. They know
what they need.
Yep. He does not have a buyback. They're going to try and Zerg this down.
You've still got 20 stolen intelligence on this OD. Yep. He still feels comfortable to try and take the fight because he never got the Eclipse off. Without that stun, Armbed never felt like he could do it. And these BKBs, well, at least they're off cooldown. Actually, no, there's still 17 seconds on the Razor. They will not get here in time.
The big key, that fight took forever, but the supports of Fnatic have got to be more careful. They cannot die.
Doom. He's gone sparkly, but then there's the Spike Carapace. Nyx Assassin, a huge double stun, followed up with the Eclipse that burnt them dry. Roshan is the primary target. Here comes Razor to the front lines. BKBs up from both sides, but it's allowing the Gyrocopter to move forward. FY, he knows he's going to die. Gives the gem over to the Razor. He knows he needs to try and fight this one up. They get rid of Wars, they get rid of Vision, but tethered together, Gyro and Nova, but it won't matter when you've got the rampaging maybe. Sven, he'll complete his TP, barely in time, but the bigger one is down. Without Lone Druid, LGD will claim Roshan.
That could be it. This is you hit a critical mass now. Gyrocopter's going to have an Aegis all of a sudden. Finish the Mjolnir right before that engagement.
Nyx. He's not going to go.
But like it's all about the targets that these teams dangle out for the enemy to take. Fnatic lose that fight and their racks because they lost Grimstroke and Nyx at the start of the engagement because Jabs is leading the charge. LGD, they do a great job. Let Chalice soak the Hex, the stun, and the inevitable death. You don't care. He had no Doom anyway. He's running in to die. Yep. This keeps your cores alive. And the Razor and the Gyro, you look at their net worth, they're the ones actually dealing the damage.
Once again, also, like at that point, it felt like OD. He was going to do the work with the Eclipse, but they couldn't hit FY. They couldn't reach the back lines. And Razor, why does it always feel like LG send 2 corners in and then the third one arrives? It's the greatest timing for them. Jabs can't find his initiation anymore. He's always being detected. And Fnatic, They are a lane and a half down, and as the big half of the bottom lane, they've only got the range racks on bottom lane. They are being pushed back into their base, and this will be a big defense. Aegis is over on the gyrocopter. Cheese is on the IO. That's full efficiency with the IO.
It's all about the vision game in these fights. Sure, Nick's in the early mid game. You can rally around him. He can go find these engagements, but he is nothing. He has Tranquil Boots and a wand. LGD, you just charge in. Razor, Doom, Gyro, all of these heroes are capable of being the entry frag. Fnatic don't have one.
Stormbolt forward. They want to get a little bit of extra damage out. Gyrocopter's on the front lines. Remember, he's got the Aegis Immortal. They protect him, the Lotus Orb. Doombringer jumping in, making a target of himself, but he's okay with it. He's got Ghost Scepter as well as BKB. Not to mention, they just killed MP's Bear. He does not have a respawn on this, but there's his range Druid. A little bit more hurt because his Bear is down. Doombringer, the silence is on him. They do not want to have this Doom go off, but they have to do something. At the moment, they're just waiting it out. Doombringer's got Blink, Hoof Stomp, ready to go. Ice, Ice, Ice. The God Strength buff up, but they've already lost their melee racks. The range will follow. Stormbolt in. They already broke the Lincoln Sphere, but there's the Doombringer into the back lines. MP got his BKB off. X-Nova jumps in too. The Eclipse, it does some decent work. The Gyro may go down, but no, he won't. The cheese is consumed. They have the life back, and Fnatic, they will die at home all the way back in the fountain, and probably even call it. Buybacks come thick and fast. Okay, don't call it too soon. Ice, Ice, Ice jumps back out. He gets a good stun. Followed up by Jazz with a triple stun. Abed's building up the intel once again. He gets the imprisonment off. Razor, he's low on life. Chalice as well. They may have the life. The stun. Chalice needs to go down. He's got another stun available, trying to queue up for 3 of them. So goodbye, Doom. Arme, the Aegis Immortal will break. X-Nova, how much do you want to try and save your core here? Nope, they create a perimeter. Nowhere to rolling boulder forward. Gyrocopter will die.
They're coming back.
And the only reason why there aren't Megas, oh, okay, why are you coming back? Goodbye, Io.
Yeah, for a second I thought they might try and turn it around and bring maybe to the base as well. They do have the one bottom range racks available. Jab's pinging it out.
They have to run mid.
And they can put some pressure. You have a lone Druid, not the bear build of course, but you still do some pretty significant base damage.
I don't think they really have a choice now. They are running down mid lane. They have to force some level of buyback, some advantage on this map. X-Nova's taking the 40-minute bounty runes in the meantime. MP will be pushed away from the haste rune. This will be a nice target if they can catch up the rest of them. Sven, here comes your stun. Lincoln Sphere will break over on the Razor, but Abed moves forward. A banishment. It's allowing time for MP and Ice 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 to get in range, but the BKB just pops up from maybe, and he'll walk back into safety, and they let the creep wave go in the mid. Buybacks, it's so almost impossible to force them on LGD now.
Yep. And LGD, they're confident in this position. You only need the one range racks. You've not quite secured the game, but you're one mistake away from being able to take this crucial game one. Fnatic, you've got to take some risks now. You've got
just remember how fast Fnatic can push.
Yeah. It's really the lack of the frontliner. OD can't commit because he's always afraid of the Doom. He popped his hammer like right at the start of that fight, and still he's getting doomed right after because it'll still prevent the orb. It's a hard game for Abed to play properly because of that threat. I think future games we've got to think like Doom counters OD. We've got to see this hero banned out if you want to be early picking.
We just keep banning Pugna because and Puck. That's what we keep banning, right?
They're effective in their own ways. I just feel like this Doom hero as a concept, the Devour talent, the way the new Devour functions, like being able to purchase the aura items as the offlaner, a critical need for drafts nowadays in this meta.
More and more pressure, and probably even more highlighting on the coaches for how they deal with this. Well, LGD, they'll still feel very good in this game. 14,000 is their advantage. Of course, with the fallback out of the base, they did lose out a lot more, but it may not matter. Like, when you're this far up with the lanes of Raxus, you've got the momentum. The only reason why I kind of bring it up is because it's still items in for Fnatic, and Fnatic have good counter push. They look for their own engagement in mid.
The way LGD is itemizing too, though, Toby, you have a butterfly completed on the gyrocopter. You're about to finish one as well on the Razor, and then you have Doom going for a halberd. 3 different sources of evasion against an OD and a lone Druid that have no gold for MKB.
Druid went for Daedalus. He didn't even go for MKB.
Yep, and that 35% less damage to the LGD side, and they already have the sustain of the FY Wisp. This this may be too much for Fnatic to handle.
I doubt LGD will oblige them with a fight because you know Fnatic want it. There's a double damage on the Lone Druid. They start with a stun over on the ES, but the jump! Doombringer into the back lines. He gets the Doom over on the Lone Druid, but this will allow the OD to potentially find this engagement. But Nyx Assassin, he's got no irons and no hope anyway. Fnatic, they are retreating once more. They're trying to wait off the Doom. And they're able to do so. We'll drop the Druid down very low, 65 HP he survived on, but they're going for the range racks. Megas are up for LGD. The Stormbolt on Sven. Ice is stunning up himself thanks to Lotus Orb. They turn around. The Soul Bind. They're connected together. This time they'll find the kill over on ES, but Razor, he just BKBs, turns for the fight, and then the Sven stun. He can't move out. Doombringer controlled him up too hard. The defensive imprisonment has to be used. Lone Druid just absolutely explodes. That's the game. GG. They have to call it now. LGD have taken out almost every one of the cores, and just to ensure we're fountain diving. LGD have done it. They will take game 1 against Fnatic in this elimination stage.
In style too, Toby, as you said. Really well played. After those initial fights went poorly, you had to think maybe there'd be a little concern from the Chinese side, but they still played with confidence. They executed well. They finally found a couple of engagements where they were able to stay on top of the Fnatic lineup. You can hear the crowd roar. They suddenly come alive.
Hey, it's the home crowd. It's their last hope for China. And it's the same point that LGD was knocked out in KL. They have to fight hard to stay in this. A team that reaches the TI Grand Final to then continue that form through the next season as well is a hard ask. But man, this lineup, they've got a lot of talent behind themselves and such great gameplay. But I also want to praise Fnatic. They seem to get this really great vision game, early pressure, movement around the map. It was just that issue once the BKBs arrived.
Yep, exactly. And the side, it's a Wisp draft. It's a Wisp gyro specifically. And sure, you have some soft counters to the combination, but you're, especially when you go this like Vlad's Death Zone on the Lone Druid, you're not going to ever outscale this LGD lineup. That second Roche engagement kind of decided everything. 2 consecutive team fight wins for the Dire team in LGD, and that was big. It feels like both teams are playing about equally well, but I question if you want to give them another FY Wisp game. They're so confident with
Why
this.
did it feel like LGD kind of cramped Fnatic's style in the drafting phase with their bans, but Fnatic didn't cramp LGD at all? Like, they just tried to ban out a couple of heroes that were counting them, but then didn't ban out that Doombringer who caused so many problems for the OD and stopped Abed from being Abed.
Yep.
They have to have a better answer to this.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Cannot wait to actually find it out, because really LGD 1 game up against Fnatic. They are looking good, they're looking strong, and Fnatic, they'll have to fight back hard. The panel was pushing for them as well. Maybe Fnatic are that team to push through and face up against Evil Geniuses, or will LGD get the rematch that they wanted? The team that knocked them out of the previous major, EG, they're waiting to see who their opponents will be. Who will they be? We'll find out after the break.